Hey guys, what's going on? We're here with Road to the Bigs podcast. I'm here with Brewers reliever Justin Topa. Obviously, my boy Billy Pinckney on the side here. We're just going to jump into a 5-question ripoff for Justin and see what he's like. Let's go. Number one, favorite team to play for so far?
The Brewers.
Easy question.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Your favorite field? Yeah, right. Favorite field to play at?
I won't say Miller Park just because it's kind of the easy answer. I'll go with Dodger Stadium.
Love it. Your favorite city that you've been in for baseball?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say Frisco, Texas. That was a nice little city right outside of Dallas.
I like that. Okay, now, what has been your longest bus trip you've had throughout?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I want to say it was probably in the South Atlantic League in low A, going from like Lakewood, New Jersey to Rome, Georgia. That one was probably like right on 10. Either that or somewhere in the Can-Am League, going from Rockland to like Quebec or Ottawa was pretty far. Those were like nine hours.
Those can turn out to be miserable but fun trips at the same time.
Exactly.
All right, we got two more real quick. Favorite teammate that you've played with throughout everything?
Oh boy.
Tough one. I know, tough one.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't think I could pick a specific. I'll go with probably one of my closest friends from baseball, Jerry Mulderig. We were drafted together by the Pirates, and we're very close to this day. My other buddy, Chad Cool, all three of us are very close, so probably one of those two.
Perfect. Last but not least, give me your glove, cleats, brands that you use.
It's actually, I just signed a Wilson deal, so I'm with Wilson for the glove. And cleats, I usually wear Nike.
Nice. Yeah. Well, perfect. That'll end that segment right there. I'm happy with those questions. But I guess this is where we can call, we're doing Road to the Show podcast, Road to the Bigs. This is what we're doing. I guess this is where things got tough for you as a player, if I'm not mistaken. So tell me what happened after this year in Bradenton.
Yeah, so I was still with the Pirates in spring training at 17. And I ended up getting released at the end of camp. Kind of just a weird position to be at, like getting released from it was the first time I kind of actually felt the game of baseball as from the business side of things, especially coming off of an injury, rehabbing for almost 2 years. There's a lot of emotions and a lot of wondering, like, all right, is this the actual route that I want to take? Do I still want to play? I took some time, a couple weeks to kind of figure out and sit down with family and friends and see what the best plan was moving forward. And to go back to, coming off of 2 years of rehab, it was kind of easier for me, I guess you could say, to kind of just say, like, you know what, let's give myself a year, see what happens. Like, I haven't pitched a full year off my second elbow surgery, had a little bit of success once I got back into games. Like, why not take a chance and play out the rest of the year and just see what happens? So that's when I signed in Can-Am League in Rockland. A friend of mine who I was actually drafted with, the first person I ever met in pro ball, Mike Francoso. He's actually now a hitting coach with the Mariners, but he called me one day after I got released, probably a week and a half into it, and he said, "Hey, we're looking for pitching. If you want to play, keep playing." And Rockland was close to my house, a couple hours from my house, so it was one of those things where it's pretty easy for me, being close to home. I knew that if I was going to play indie ball, I wanted to be close to home, because then I could, shoot home if I need something, or family can come down. And if it was going to be my last year, then, people that hadn't seen me pitch or play in a long time could actually come, because it's only about a 2-hour trip. So that was a pretty easy decision once I heard from the manager there, Jamie Keefe. But actually, I still tell him to this day that
Great guy.
There was a he's awesome. There was a point though where after I had talked to him initially, I tell him this jokingly, but very serious too. I was hoping that he wasn't going to call me back. I was hoping that he was just going to be like, you know what, well, we moved on, because then it would have made my decision easy. I would have been like, all right, baseball's done for me. Like, so there was that little bit in me that I wish that he didn't call, but obviously looking back on it, it was a great decision to go play in Rockland. Got the opportunity just to be healthy and have, you know, a year of baseball to go back and just have fun with it. And I think we all get caught up, and I'm sure that you certainly know we get caught up in the day to day, and, you know, am I getting called up? Am I getting sent down? If I go, you know, 2 innings and give up 3, like, what's going to happen? I'm not going to pitch for a week. So it was good to kind of just take the business side out of it and only focus on winning and having fun, because that's kind of what we broke it down to in Rockland, was just go out, have fun, and if we win, it's that much better.
The trap is real, man. The trap in baseball is real, and I did it. I went and played 2 weeks in New Britain in the Atlantic League, and it was the most fun I've ever had in my life playing baseball. No one gave a shit. We knew we were going to go out there, and if you play well, you're going to get picked up. If not, baseball ain't for you. I went out there and played well, and thank the Lord I got picked up. But, you know, like you said, you don't have to worry about shit, man. You just show up that day. You know you're going to be in the lineup. You go play. Now, Grant's a little different for pitchers because you're on a rotation or you're doing this and that. It's obviously different for relievers, starters, whatever. But, I mean, you show up to the park. You know you're going to play. You know you're going to have a blast. You know no one else gives a shit. They just want to play hard and play good. So there's really nothing going on. So I'm glad you said that, because people don't realize that indie ball, the way professional baseball is going to be the next big thing, I think. And when you go out to an indie ball game, you just see guys smiling and laughing and bullshitting and having a good time. But when you see guys in like minor league baseball, everyone's running around with these tight little buttholes and stuff. They're always afraid to piss someone off because you're going to do this or that. And it's like, that's what's wrong with some of these young kids, and they don't make it because they're so used to having a good time. And all of a sudden the coordinator comes in town and their butthole goes, and they don't know, they're shitting diamonds. They don't know what to do, you know? So I love it. I think that's a great thing. Also, I wanted to say too, when you were saying, you know, playing indie ball, you're close to home. I know for a fact, and this is part of the show again, you know, you played in Penn League, you played in the South Atlantic League, you played in the Florida State League. The pay sucks there, man. You ain't making no money, money.
Yeah.
And then you're going to an independent ball team where actually the pay is probably a little bit better from where you were, but still not great. So when you say, yeah, you have to stay at home, I hear you. Like when I was playing Atlantic League, it's almost a pay to play league. You know, by the time you pay for a house or food or this and that, you're coming out of your pocket to play just the hopes to get back into the swing of things. And I know it's tough. And like I said, we're showing these people what it actually means to make it, and the grind to go through it, and the business side and the money situation of baseball is not fun. So I'm really glad you brought that up. And so you went to Rockland, you actually played, I think it was, I saw like 20 games, you had a 3.5, 80 Ks and like 100 and something innings. Not a bad year. Starter, right?
Yeah, I started in Rockland. I had been bouncing back and forth with the Pirates, starter in college, kind of more of a reliever with the Pirates than anything, and then had the opportunity to be a starter again and kind of go back to kind of what got me drafted and kind of broke things down from there. And yeah, I had a good year, made the All-Star team. And I also always joke with people, since that year, I've kind of taken the approach of, okay, this is going to be my last year playing baseball. And just kind of just dive into it, and you know, what happens. It's kind of helped me mentally to like simplify it, I guess it would be, to kind of just go at it and be like, you know what, if I give up 8 2/3 of an inning, like whatever, like it's baseball. You know what I mean? Correct. Life goes on. I think at that point for me, my mentality changed from baseball is my job and baseball is my life. There was a crossover there where I kind of almost cared too much. You know what I mean? I'm sure you've gone through it too. It's like you go 0 for 4, you give up 3 or whatever in a third of an inning. Like I would go back to the house, the apartment, and just be like, what am I doing? Like I got to do this, got to do that, got to do that. In indie ball though, like game was over. All right, who's playing cards right now? Like, go grab us.
Go grab us a beer. Let's go do something. Let's get the hell. I mean, let's forget about it. And it's funny, man. Like you said, people don't realize the roller coaster you ride. I remember sitting in Seattle. Gene Segura gets hurt. I finally get to play every day. I have a great month, a really good month, plus 300, couple tanks here and there, playing really well. And I'm leaving the field. I remember sitting in the car with my wife, and I'm like, babe, this could be it. You know, finally solidify myself as the utility guy, and we might be able to move forward on this. We're sitting on cloud nine. You know, you don't really want to hit that pullback button where you're like, well, what if I fuck up and do this and that? Because that's not what you're thinking as a baseball player. So we're riding cloud nine. I don't know, 3 weeks later, Segura comes back, and I'm back to once every 14 days or something like that playing. And you're like, oh, shit, that just went out the window real quick. What the hell just happened? So, no, the roller coaster is real, man. And independent ball just puts you on that even keel and gets you loving the game again. So I think that's a good point there. So you get picked up by the Rangers, and you go to where I love too, one of my favorite fields. You got Wendy Peppercorn sitting in the lifeguard stand up there in the river. You got a great stadium, Frisco, Texas, with the Rangers. And I also had something you played with the Down East Wood Ducks too during that year. Where is that team at?
That's in the Carolina League in North Carolina, kind of near Raleigh, not too far from Raleigh. But yeah, it was great because I started the year in Rockland in 18, and actually opening night had a blister, and I didn't pitch for I don't know, probably a couple of weeks, recovered from that, and was able to get picked up shortly thereafter I came back. But yeah, just
what was that phone call like? What was that phone call like?
So it was actually great because it's funny. It was one of my bullpen days, and I had an okay outing the game before, but I knew there was stuff I needed to work on and blah, blah, blah. So I'm throwing my bullpen, and it was just it was probably one of the worst bullpens I ever threw in my entire life. Like atrocious. Like I remember getting the ball back from the catcher and just launching it out of Rockland, like out of the stadium in Rockland from the bullpen. Just like I was just pissed. And one of the teammates was there. So we're like talking, just like shooting the shit, like trying to get my mind off baseball, whatever. So it was that same day we get up to the clubhouse, and the manager comes in, and Jamie would very rarely call meetings, and it seemed like a serious one. So like he comes in, he's like, hey, like you got a quick meeting here. So everybody's like looking around like, what the hell happened? Like who did what last night? Like what's going on? Like trying to figure it out. And that's
got arrested.
Yeah, exactly. So he was just like, I have some great news. He said something along the lines of, as a manager, you love passing this news on to guys, and basically said that the Rangers were picking me up and signing me. So it was a whirlwind. Having a second opportunity to be in affiliated ball was, to have even one is unbelievable, but to be able to get out of indie ball and get that second opportunity was unbelievable. A lot of phone calls shortly thereafter. And then, I went right to AA in Frisco. Unbelievable stadium, unbelievable team that I was able to be a part of there. A couple guys I had played with or knew from different experiences in baseball.
That makes it easier.
Yeah, had an absolutely atrocious statistical year. You can probably see that. But yeah, it was good because my first start, I was able to dip my feet into the water with, being in AA for the first time. Threw very well my first start, and I kind of knew in the back of my head, like, okay, like I can do this, like I could pitch at AA or above, and it was a tough go around being in and out of the rotation bullpen throughout the rest of the year, but I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. It was a tough year for me statistically, but I think the relationships that I made from that were ones that I cherish to this day.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that. I know as a utility player myself, it's very tough to go from the bench to play infield, to play outfield, to play first base, move all around. I'm sure it's got to be just as difficult being a starter, going to the pen, then going back to starting. Then you got to realize, hey, I can throw 5 innings. Then I go to the pen, all I got to do is get 3 outs, and then from an infielder, you're looking at it like, man, I'm bringing in a starter to close a game. He's used to getting 5-6 innings out of him. Now all of a sudden he's just got to get 3 outs. What's the issue? I know there's a lot of things that go on with transferring like that. And It's tough, man. I feel for you. I know it's a tough transition to do it. I'm sure you've realized how to handle it now, but I'm sure that was one of the tougher things trying to handle when you were, coming up as a young kid.
No, definitely. It's different mentality. And I'm sure that for sure. Like I was talking to somebody at the gym the other day. I was like, I don't know how guys, just come into a pinch hit role. Like I would not be able, like, you know what I mean? I guess it's very similar for a reliever coming in the game. Like you never know when you're going to be called on, but you kind of have an idea, right? Like as a reliever, like, okay, fifth, sixth, seventh, somewhere in there, like I got to be like kind of ready. Pinch hit, you could be in the second inning, somebody could get hurt and you're in the game, or you got to go out and you got to go out in the ninth with one out, you're facing a Aroldis Chapman. Like you have no, it's like this cards are stacked against you. That's why I don't get.
It's not the easiest thing to do to try and build a career on. And I could say the other way it is, because you get one hit, you're playing well and stuff like that. So it's a mental thing, man. It's tough, and you learn and you grow just like baseball does for everybody. So I know that's a tough part. So then tell me, you go from Texas, then you're with the Brewers. Tell me how that came about. What happened there?
Yeah. So that off season after the 18 season, I kind of just went to square one. I was a free agent again. Didn't know, obviously coming off a horrendous year, I didn't know if I was going to get an opportunity to be an affiliated ball again. I also didn't know if I wanted to go play indie ball again. I was kind of at a weird stance in my baseball career. I was kind of just working out just to work out more than anything, because everything was so up in the air. Started a lot of new things. The facility I work out at here had a pitching guy. It was his first year that off season, and he kind of implemented a pitching development program through like driveline type workouts with plyo balls, weighted ball stuff. And I had never used any of it prior to that. The only experience I had with driveline was seeing videos of like Casey Weathers or Trevor Bauer running and throwing into a net at 105. That was it. Like I didn't know the science behind it, programming, nothing. So he kind of was just like, hey, like, what do you think about trying this out? And at that point I was like, you know what? I got nothing. Well, I got nothing to lose. So, you know what I mean? Like if it helps, great. Maybe I get an opportunity. If it doesn't help, then I'm kind of at the same point I am now. And so I kind of dove into that. Throughout the off season, arm was feeling good. There's a couple of mechanical things that we kind of fixed, shortened arm path, stuff like that. And it led to basically in like February, end of February, it was right around the time everybody was leaving for spring training. It was me and one other guy there, another indie ball guy, just throwing, working out. And Harvard was in town to play University of Penn, and their game got rained out, and they just happened to come in on a Friday, our normal like live BP or Penn days, and the game got rained out, so they were in there working out, and our pitching guy just went up to him, the head coach, and was like, hey, would you guys want to go live? Like we have two indie ball guys that are getting ready to go play, or trying to find jobs, free agents. Would you want to go live, get some of your freshmen or whoever at bats? And thankfully they said yes. I went out and I was 97, 99.
Shit.
Hardest I ever threw in my life. Like arm was feeling unbelievable.
God.
And so we kind of put together a video and put it on Twitter, and it blew up. It got like 100-something thousand views in like 12 hours. So that was on a Friday, and I had been in talks with the Brewers a little bit. They had come and see me throw at a showcase during the off season, but there wasn't too much traction. It was more of like, hey, like if there's an opportunity, like we'll reach out, like just let us know where you're going to be playing this year type thing. Yeah. So when that video got out, basically that night, like the Yankees called, they wanted to set up a workout for the next week. And then Saturday morning, I get a call from the Brewers, and they're like, hey, we're ready to pull the trigger. Like, we're going to offer you a contract. And that was Saturday, and I flew out Monday, and I was in Arizona at the end of spring training, out in Phoenix. So it was a whirlwind.
Crazy how fast it goes.
Weekend. Yeah. Especially
it's crazy, man. It's one phone call and then you're on a freaking plane.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, that just goes to show how how social media has changed the game of baseball. so much between social media, analytics, all that stuff. Because they literally told me that the scout said, hey, like one of our analytics guys flagged your video on Twitter. Like he saw it on Twitter, and that's kind of why we're reaching out. And so it was pretty crazy. Like obviously pitching Ninja
like
retweets
so easy,
it.
right?
So I was like, yeah.
Hey, just go out there and throw 99 and throw it on Twitter, you know?
So it was one of those
you know what? That's
crazy
awesome, dude.
things.
That's a good story because exactly what you said. Social media has come out to a point where it's good and bad for baseball players nowadays, man. It really helps guys. It also gets guys in trouble. You know, I've seen guys who get in trouble by doing shit, and I've seen guys who are really prime example. You get a contract now. Guess what? You're in the big leagues pitching every 2 days, 3 days, whatever your rotation is. But now you're in the big leagues. So I'm happy for you, man. It's a great story coming back. Because how easy is it for you to get down knowing that you're still there when everyone else is in spring training? You're the only two guys there, and you're like, fuck, man, what am I going to do with myself? Then bam, what do you know? Here it comes.
Yeah, it's awesome. Crazy too, because we always joke, we call it the morgue when nobody's. It was literally me and one other guy working out, playing catch. Our trainer would show up at like noon, and we'd just be like the three of us would just be working out. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is unbelievable.
Just like, giving that look to each other.
Yeah, like I'm like 27. I'm like, what am I? Like, I just played indie ball. I had an atrocious season. Like, what am I? Like, what the hell's going on? And then to make things worse, like I'd be throwing bullpens in the middle of the week, and like my velo was just like, I don't know what was going on. I couldn't throw hard, like for some reason. There'd be times where I'd go out and I'd be like 85, 87. I was like, this isn't going to get me signed. Like, what am I doing? And then there was days where I felt good, and the velo would tick up, and you know, obviously having somebody stand in, the adrenaline gets going. But yeah, crazy social media, man. I definitely appreciate getting the contract out of it.
I was gonna say that's awesome. Sign Twitter up for a couple of those bucks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So real quick, we go Brewers 2019. You play in Biloxi. Good year, bad year, average year?
Yeah, it was an okay year. There was a lot of stuff going on off the field, a lot of family stuff that was the short end of it. My mom was sick, so I had to go home for a couple short stints. But yeah, I mean, I was in Double A, started the year in Double A, pitched well to start the year, didn't give up a run in like 15 or 16 appearances, and then went home for a week span to be with some family, and then I came back and was actually sent down to High A, which I completely understood at the time. It was a lot of prospects in Double A that needed innings, so there was a lot of roster moves that needed to be made. So I just kind of just went down there, tried to enjoy it. Obviously, getting sent down sucks, but any day that you still have an opportunity, especially in affiliated ball, to have the uniform and continue to play, it's a blessing. So I went down there. Had a good time back in the Carolina League. Probably was there for a month or so. Did pretty well out of the bullpen. There was a couple rough outings here and there, but got back up to Biloxi, and we were able to make a playoff push at the end of the year there, lost in the championship. But overall, yeah, it was a really good year. Felt really good, especially to have one full season of being a reliever. That was, for me, having that mindset of, okay, like I'm a reliever, I'm a 7th, 8th, 9th inning guy, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, whatever. I kind of had a more of a routine going into that. I was able to be ready for those outings. So I was very happy with how it ended and health-wise, how I was feeling going into that off season. And then, re-signed with them in 19 off season on a minor league contract, and then was able to start or get to spring training and pitch in some big league games, some backup games before all the shutdown happened.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, I want to get to that. And before, I just want to touch on it's crazy. A lot of people don't understand, man, when you go from Biloxi to, the Carolina Mudcats, you got to find new housing. You got to figure out this. You got to figure out what you're going to do with fiance, girlfriend, family issues. A lot of people don't realize what actually goes into doing this stuff, and having a strong second person in your life to help you with some of that stuff. I know I wasn't able to find my apartments in Seattle. My wife did that. I didn't find places to eat and shit like that. My wife did. I was worried about one thing, baseball. And I know that's the toughest part. And obviously we're saying road to the show, what does that actually mean for people? But people don't see the behind the scenes shit that happens that actually means a lot to you deep down, because you don't have to handle it. You can focus on one thing or the other that's baseball wise and what's going on. And people don't realize you go down, you go back up, you go down. What do I do with my lease? What do I do with my car? How do I get my car there? What do I do? It's a freaking headache. And you're not just taking a week to get down to Carolina. You're out the next day. You're gone. You got to pack up all your shit and you're gone. So I just want to make that clear for everyone watching. It is tough.
No, 100%. Yeah. When I got sent down, because I had my car in Biloxi and then I drove to Carolina. So that was like a 12-hour trip.
And you had, like I said, you have to do it in one night, 2 nights. You had an off day, so you got 2 days.
Yeah, thankfully we had an off day. So I literally packed the car when I found out and left shortly thereafter. But like you said, like my name was on the lease in Biloxi. So like somebody had to come in, like live there. And then I got to find new housing once we get to Carolina. Thankfully, obviously, with those types of moves, there should be an opening somewhere. So usually you just jump in wherever the previous guy was, but you're also you have slim pickings, especially during the middle of the season of choices where to live. But then you get used to, for me, I was in Carolina for about a month. So right when I kind of got used to the day in and day out, like where places were, it was like, all right, well, you're going back to Biloxi. Okay, well, what am I doing in my car? Like it was just,
I don't want to make that drive again, please.
Yeah. Yeah, so I actually left my car in Carolina. I think my sister came and picked it up that year. So thankfully.
Family helps, man.
Exactly.
Family.
100%.
All right, so we got for Justin Topa, we have figured out his road to the big leagues. We figured out his college, his time with the Pirates, Rockland, the Rangers, when he got picked up by the Brewers, how he got picked up by the Brewers. Now, for me, this is the fun part. This is the part that I remember the most. I'm sure you remember the most. You went through it in a different time, so I'm excited to hear about it. Added to the 60-man player pool. Great, right? Tough time we're going through. Skip all that. Everyone knows we went through Corona and all this stuff, and you went to their AAA place. Where was their AAA place for this?
They were actually at their at their low A stadium in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Okay. So
that's where
okay.
the alternate
so you were the Timber Rattlers.
Timber Rattlers, yep. That stadium.
Gotcha.
So we were only about an hour or so from Milwaukee, which was good.
Okay, nice. So we go to the 60-man player pool. Everyone knows what it was. You show up, you play a couple inter-squad games, this and that. You're practicing, getting your work in, staying ready, staying pretty healthy through Corona. I'm sure you guys couldn't do anything, go out and do anything. So,
yeah, yep.
We were staying ready there. Then tell me the phone call, the talk, who it was, what happened when you got that first call up to go play for the actual Milwaukee Brewers in Miller Park.
Yeah, so it was the day before the trade deadline. We were getting ready just to have a normal day, normal workout in Appleton. And right before, one of the coordinators had kind of pulled me off to the side, and he was like, hey, like, I'm letting you know this because you're kind of older. You could probably handle it. He's like, hey, there might be an opportunity, obviously the trade deadline, like there's going to be some moves that are going to be made. Like, I'm not saying anything certain, but you might want to pack your bags type thing. He just kind of gave me a heads up. Well, at that time, I'm like, shit, am I getting traded? Like, what?
Yeah.
He didn't specify.
Here we go again.
Like, what's going on? So I kind of took it with a grain of salt. I was like, okay, like, who knows what's going to happen? Obviously, a lot of, I wasn't on the 40-man roster, so I knew that there had to be a lot of moves that had to be made to open up a spot. So,
correct.
So, yeah, so I, loosely packed. I didn't really tell any family at the time, just because I didn't want, obviously, if it never happened, then, I didn't want to get everybody's hopes up. But then the next morning, same coordinator called me, Jake McKinley, and he said, hey, you're going to the big leagues. You got to be at the stadium at 1 o'clock. So I was in my hotel room in Appleton, and unbelievable to hear that news. Called my dad right away, told him he was driving for work, so he had to pull off the road and have a conversation. It was a lot.
I feel like
of
first
emotion.
phone call is always to pops, man. Always,
Yeah.
you gotta tell dad.
Yeah,
Always.
no, exactly. We, like I said, there was a lot of stuff going on the year prior with my mom. She ended up actually passing away in December of that year in 19. So there was a lot of emotion.
Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that.
I appreciate it. So it was tough. Obviously, emotionally, you get unbelievable news. She probably would have been the first one I would have called. So it was definitely an emotional time. But yeah, I called my dad, my sister, now fiance. And then after that, it was just like, all right, like I gotta pack up the hotel room. Like he's got a couple hours to grab some food and get to Milwaukee. Thankfully, one of my teammates got called up the same day. His first call up, Trey Supak, who I actually, it's funny how everything works in baseball. He was drafted by the Pirates in 2014, the year after I was. So we knew each other from Pittsburgh. He was traded to Milwaukee a couple years later, but we were both at the alternate site and we both got called up the same day. And on top of that, our first day in the big leagues, we were playing the Pirates. So it's kind of full circle. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I have a lot of buddies that are still in Pittsburgh. I know a lot of the coaches that are there. So that was pretty cool to, you get to the field and you get to tell, like my buddy, like I said earlier, one of my close friends in baseball, Chad, cool. He was obviously there with Pittsburgh. So I call him and let him know. And it was cool to have those moments with guys that you came up with, you're drafted with, you kind of been through the ups and downs with, and to see it all play out and get to the big leagues was something unbelievable.
Awesome. Yeah, man. It's something you don't realize when you step into that locker room first. You're like, holy shit, man, I made it, but I still got work to do. You try and understand and realize the situation you're in. I'll never forget when I got called up. I'm sitting in Toronto. My first game was actually in Tampa. I showed up late because coming from Durham, I got there late, but we go on the plane the next day. We're showing up in Tampa or in Toronto, and I'm starting at short that day. And it's fucking sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got the best advice that day I possibly could from Kirk Casale. Sits me down, pulls me out right in front of the dugout before the game starts. He said, I want you to do this before you step out there. And it made so much sense and stuck with me. He said, I want you to go out there, take a full 360, take it all in. See what you've worked for and actually accomplished. And look at everything and take it in. As soon as you do that 360, flip on the switch and this is just baseball again. Got my first hit, first home run. It was great. It was exactly what you needed. And people handle shit differently. I get it. But for me, that hit me here, man. You know what I mean? It was like,
100%,
I've done it. I've accomplished what I wanted to do. Now let's make this a career. So it's great. That the stories are great. I want to hear first two questions I'm gonna rip off to you. Made it to the big leagues. First thing you bought yourself as making it to the big leagues, or bought your wife or fiance or whatever. What was the first purchase for yourself for actually accomplishing what you wanted to?
It was actually an engagement ring. That was the big purchase.
Love it. Spend that money wisely.
Yeah, right. So that was one of the first things was setting that whole thing up, and we ended up getting engaged in November. So she's been through it thick and thin. We were together prior to engagement, we were together for almost 8 years. So it's been a long haul. She's been there through everything. So
she deserved it. She more than deserved it.
Exactly. That's for sure.
Love it. Okay, so we got that, and then first teammate that approached you to welcome you to the clubhouse, the team, went out of their way that kind of made you feel like, all right, this is going to be fine?
I would say probably Braun. Braun was actually funny. Like I knew a handful of guys that were there already. Devin Williams I'd played with in Biloxi the year prior. Same with Drew Rasmussen. So there was a few guys that I knew. Brent Suter. Obviously everybody's excited, right? Whenever you get a new teammate, you go up, introduce yourself if you don't know them, or say congrats or whatever. So it was kind of just eye-opening. You're meeting all these guys you see, like Justin Smoke was there at the time, Jed Jerko, like guys that played in the big leagues for a while. Eric Sogard, and I go in, and my locker is Eric Sogard's to my left, and Ryan Braun is on the other side, and I'm like, this is wild. So Brawny was great. He, came over right away, introduced himself, and had great things to say. And then, Christian Yelich, he came over, introduced himself. I always joke with everybody was like, oh, like, you know, what was it like meeting Yelich for the first time? I was like, to be honest, like, he came up to me, I introduced myself. He's like, yo, I'm Christian. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, I know you. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
You're like
MVP,
starstruck, but you don't want to be starstruck. You know what I mean? Christian
Right,
Yelich
yeah.
is a great player. He's been a great player. Good dude on and off the field. And it's funny you say that he came up to you because I remember in Seattle, granted, you had a little veteran team too. We had a veteran team, Cano, Cruz, Segura. You know, we were around a bunch of veterans. Felix Hernandez, shit, try and go up to Felix Hernandez. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. So I remember when I first got in there, I was with him in spring training. So, you know, I was in big league camp for spring training. But I remember Seager came up to me. He's like, look, like, I know you made the team out of camp and stuff like that, but you need to go around and just kind of present to everybody again that you're here. So I remember going around and being like, what's up, Fifi? You know, what's up, Rob, Nelly? You know, just letting them know I was there. And then we get our first call up. So I'm thinking in our locker room, it's that guy's got to go around to everyone. So I'm just sitting back in my locker. I'm kind of waiting for him to come up because I know how it was, man. It was awkward when you first get there. Right. So I'm waiting for the guy to come up, and I see everyone else going up to him introducing themselves. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I got to go around and reintroduce myself to everybody once again, and everyone's going up to this guy. So I walk over there and introduce myself. But it's funny how the hierarchy works in baseball. You show up, you're like, man, who do I introduce myself to and I talk to? When I grew up, you know, Robinson Cano, you know, He was the man. It still is the absolute man. And going up and shaking his hand and talking to him, you're like, holy shit, man. Like, this was my dude growing up, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So it's cool, man. It's really cool. It's a great experience. People don't realize. Then I wanted to bust into your first game because I see that you came in. I played in Korea last year. So I seen you came in, you made your debut on what, September 1st?
Yep.
Against the Tigers, an old team of mine too. So you relieved Josh Lindblom, who was a Korea favorite.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Yeah, I love
great
Josh.
dude.
He's awesome. Yeah, we actually met. He played with the Pirates for a year and a half. And
before Korea.
Yeah. So I had known him a little bit when I was with the Pirates. And so he was actually one of the first guys that when I got added into the player pool, he had messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey man, congrats. Like, hopefully you get here soon. And so that was pretty cool to, you know, like I said, baseball, when it comes full circle, you know, it's meant to be. And, you know, the way that relationships work in baseball, you never know who you're going to see down the road. And it's great to have those people in your corner.
And that's the one thing I'm going to get off topic real quick, but that's the one thing I love about baseball too, man. Lindblom messages you. He says, hey, man, I hope you get up here soon. I'm the same way in free agency right now. I'm hoping everyone signs, man. I want to see people make their money. Go ahead, pimpin'. Make your money. Be happy. I'm all for it. You sign a good deal. Like the deal that what's his face for the Mariners just signed came from Korea, Flexen. The deal Flexen signed, he's with my agent. And he signs a deal that's unbelievable out of Korea. And I'm thinking, go ahead, playa, make your money. I'm super happy for you. Do it. You know, I see utility guys signing, Didi, Simmons, all these guys holding out to get more money. I'm happy for them, man. Go get your money. So it's really good to see baseball players picking up players because what people don't realize is it's not always like that. And when it's not, you're team divided and it sucks. And that's why you see some teams going separate ways and stuff. So I'm real happy that guys are supportive like that. And like I said, it's good karma, man. You root for someone to make some money. Hopefully you end up making money in the long run too. So that for me, it touches me. That's good. So opening game, you relieve Lindblom against the Tigers. I'm looking at the video now. We got your first at bat against Christian Stewart, right?
Yep. Little jam job, ground ball to third. We're shifted, little base hit.
Oh yeah, he got you guys on the left there. Everyone hates those shifts, but they work.
Yeah.
Then we got Griner, a little double play, but they review it, and you save it first, right?
Save it first. Yep.
All right.
And then was it Castro? I think Willie Castro.
What was that pitch? What was that pitch? He swung, hit him back foot.
Yeah, a little back foot slider, literally.
Literally.
Yeah, that was the first punch out. So that was pretty cool. especially to have it was actually funny to have the pitching ninja guy on Twitter. He what's his name, Rob or Rod. He retweeted that, so it was pretty cool because that's kind of how I got the job, like with the Brewers. Like, he retweeted my video, so it kind of like blew up, and now to see that happen, it was pretty cool. And then
so I see there's a little confusion going on here too, right? You're pointing over here at the ball. The umpire's saying dead ball. The catcher's reaching back to get a ball from the umpire or talk to him. I can't really tell.
Yeah, so
it ends up being a strikeout.
Right. So I thought it actually hit Omar Narvaez. I thought it hit his shin guard, like his foot or something. So that's why I was like, oh, the ball's like, because I thought he didn't know where it was. Well, then the funny part was, I think Castro, he strikes out and he takes 2 steps and starts taking off like his shin guard and elbow guard, like he was walking, like he was going to first. So then I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Like, so
it took a full swing.
Yeah. So there was a little confusion there.
So you get to keep the ball though.
Yeah,
that's your first strikeout.
So, yeah,
love it.
And so that
nothing like having a great story for the first strikeout.
Exactly.
So then we get to the top of the order. Victor Reyes.
Yeah, he
97 leaves it in Toyota territory.
Yeah, that one was supposed to be a little higher than down in it.
I was going to say, when I was over there, I remember this dude putting low pitches out. That guy is an up ball swing and miss guy. But hey, welcome to the big leagues, right? We all been there.
Yeah. That was supposed to be a little like belt or a little up near the elbow. That was supposed to be up a little bit, and then you leave it in down and into the no-go zone, and those certainly get hit a lot further with those big league balls.
Especially in that park, Miller Park. Holy crap.
Exactly.
So then you go. Then who's that? Grounded to a.
I'm trying to think who was after
Scope.
him. Yeah, John Scope. And
then you get to the big guy, Cabrera. Tell me what that was like. Obviously, you get the big guy to fly out to short right field. I'm sure that's a huge thing for you, facing a guy like that.
Yeah. So it was crazy because that was the start of the second inning. So I didn't even know if I was going to go out for a second one, but they were like, hey, you good? I was like, all right, yep, let's go. And I knew that he was going to be coming up at some point. I wasn't 100% sure. Obviously, mind's racing where we were in the order. So I throw my warm-up pitches, get the ball back, and like right as I'm getting the ball back, I like just glance up at the Jumbotron and like, boom, Miguel Cabrera, and they're announcing him. I was like, oh boy, like here we go.
There he is.
Yeah, but like you said, like you play again, you get to face those guys that you watch on TV, that you grew up watching, like no doubt Hall of Famer. Like it gets to the point where you're just like, let's see what happens. Like, this is my stuff against the Hall of Famer. Like, this is the dream. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna be in the big leagues and be successful, you gotta get guys like this out every night. And so it was cool because you just lock right back. I think you get more locked in an aspect. Thinking about it, you see those guys like, all right, like I need to, kind of prove your worth here. And but I was able to get him to fly out on a slider, a little up in the zone. But he flew out to shallow right, and so that was pretty cool just to face a guy like that, and especially in the debut, and get that experience out of the way.
Baseball, man, it's funny. It's one of the only things where basketball's a little bit more because you'll get a little more lifespan out of it. But it's funny, man. Baseball, like you said, you get so starstruck with some of these guys, and you got to realize that they put their pants on the same way you put your pants on in the locker room right before the game. You're putting your freaking sliders on, your cleats on, you're tying them up. You're on the same field with this guy now, and it is a little bit of a starstruck, and I'm sure they were the same way coming up too. But like you said, you lock right back in, and it's fantastic. So definitely. Getting that guy out, I'm sure it's huge, settles you down a little bit. And then my boy Ben Gamble, played with him, the long-haired brothers in Seattle. What you think about Benny boy?
He was awesome. I love Gam. He was very approachable. You can talk to him about anything. He was always there if you had a question or whatever. yeah, he was great, especially as somebody just getting into the big leagues. You kind of like we were saying earlier, you don't want to step on anybody's toes. But he made the game fun for sure.
He's one of the better dudes in baseball. I mean, just a grinder, just a hard-nosed player.
100%. Yep.
Smart player, can hit the ball, plays balls out defense, honestly, man. Goes to after balls and stuff like that. Great dude. Then we go Candelario, get a little jam job first base. We go over cover with Smokey, the old hillbilly boy. I love him. Then there you go, strike out a Goodrum. So you got 2 Ks your first outing.
Yep.
Done after the 7th.
Yep.
Right. So
yeah. So
for me, good outing. Right. You give up a home run, but you messed up on a pitch, and you go out there and you shove them up in the next inning.
Yeah. No, 100%. It was good to, like I said, the one pitch, and that's kind of how we took it when we came back in after the dugout or in the dugout. Obviously missed a spot one time, but guys are gonna take advantage of those mistakes at the big league level a lot more than Double A or Triple A. But yeah, it was an unbelievable experience to get in there, especially like you said, face a Hall of Fame guy in Cabrera. A little weird with no fans in the stands. Obviously, the crowd noise being pumped in is one thing, but to have actual fans there is going to be special to experience. But it was definitely a win. To get to that point and have that success to get to the big leagues, it was a dream come true.
I love it. I mean, shit, we should be used to it after playing in the Florida State League. Going from Florida State League to playing in big league. Same difference, right? Just different people on the field. Sure. I think the last question I have for you, because it was my biggest eye opener, was tell me your first trip. Where was your first trip, and then what was it like stepping on that private plane, that charter plane, where you don't know what's going to happen? Then all of a sudden you got some alcohol, you have whatever food you want, you got cards, you got stuff going on in the plane. Like, what was it for you?
It was actually a little anticlimactic just because all the COVID regulations. We were heading to, where were we going? We went to Cleveland first, I believe. Yeah, Cleveland was the first road trip. But yeah, you get on the flight, you're like, oh, this is gonna be awesome, like charter flight, food, whatever. Unbelievable experience, right? You're on the big league plane for the first time. But unfortunately, no cards, sit in your seat with your mask on. Only time you can have your mask down is if you're eating or drinking. So it was relatively quiet for the most part, compared to what some guys have said about the charter flights there. But it was cool. You get to talk to guys that in the heat of the game or in the dugout, other things are going on, so you kind of get to know guys in that aspect, kind of a little bit away from the field, and you telling stories about different playing against different guys, or how your career's gone to that point. So it was really cool to kind of have that. All right, like this is the big leagues. Like this is kind of the big league moment almost. But yeah,
it's worth all the pain and suffering you did on the bus trip,
right,
and shit like that. It puts everything that we did in the past. You finally sit on that nice little seat.
Yeah.
You get Woodford's Reserve in you, whatever food you want. You're like, shit, I put in my work. This is finally, I'm finally reaping what I sowed right here. It's awesome. I'm reaping the benefits of what I've done. It's a great feeling. You got 100%. To miss out a little bit on the fun part. People playing some cars, doing some stupid shit. But hell, I hope you get to experience that once this virus thing gets the hell out of here. So
yeah, that's for sure. No, definitely.
No, I got to show you the shirt though.
Yeah, no, definitely. Wow, look at that.
Oh, he got one.
Might be the first. That might be the first
one, huh?
I've seen.
Yeah,
because the family got the jerseys right after I was called up, and but yeah, that's the first shirtsy.
That's awesome. I also have here Rockland.
The Rockland scorecard. Look at that. Was that? I'm assuming that was a Jackals game.
Yeah, it was.
Was that from 17?
2017. Yep.
Okay.
Good times.
Love that.
Hey, at least we got Billy donating to that check that we get every spring training for merchandise money, and I love it, Billy. Thanks.
Yeah, gotta love it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Not only Cano selling jerseys, the big guys. We got Topa selling jerseys too, put money in our pockets, and I love it.
It's actually it's funny because obviously being from a small town, it was kind of the news for the week. It was me getting called up, so it was pretty cool that my fiance had called this off season to get something. I forget what it was from the shop there, the brewer's shop, and they were like, "Oh, something about it was something with my jersey number name on it, whatever." And the guy that like runs the merchandise was like, "Yeah, like when he got called up, we got like a ton of calls from like people. I guess back home is like a small town or something." And then like people like family, friends, and all that, they were texting me like, "Oh, got one of the balls from your debut or the game used balls." Yeah, everybody's looking for jerseys or like whatever. So it was pretty cool to have the support there, and it's a great experience.
Sounds like September 1st in Binghamton, New York is going to be Justin Topa Day from now on. I think we've declared it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, Binghamton.
Yeah. It was cool because, like I said, with no fans or no family friends can fly out, it was like, oh, like what the heck? So it was my family, immediate family, they all got together. All my buddies were sending me Snapchats like, oh, we're all at my one buddy's house at downstairs in his basement watching the game. So it was pretty cool to get all those videos and stuff.
It's tough not having your family there for that first inning. You know what I mean? I didn't get to have my family there. We played in Tampa, and I didn't play that day because I was late. Then we went up to Toronto, and I got to play. And my parents can't fly; they don't like to fly. So I didn't get to have them there either. Obviously, they're fans in the stands, but we had to wait until we came back to Miami the next series. And we're from Palm Beach, so they just took an hour drive down to Palm Beach and watched us against the Marlins. But it's tough, man. You want them to be there just as bad as you want, your fiance or someone to be there. So
right,
that had to be tough, but at least they got to see it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's why I keep telling people, I was like, I almost get 2 debuts in a sense. No fans the first time, but then the next time out there, hopefully family will be there and can experience that. So.
Man, wait till you go out there and feel that your freaking balls are just like, yeah, this is what I've been waiting for. People ready to see what I got, man.
That's what was crazy about in the playoffs, playing the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. It was like that play. Obviously, every stadium kind of pumped in the crowd noise a little different than others, but that place, like, they had the bass going, and then they also put. I always tell people. Everybody's like, oh, like, what about the cardboard cutouts? Does it look real? Like, whatever. They put every cardboard cutout behind home plate. Like that. It was like, and you have a cardboard cutout of Tommy Lasorda, Magic Johnson. Like, it was like the whole
You're playing
place.
in front of some big guys.
Like when I was on the mound, I was like, if I didn't know that those were cardboard, like, that's pretty realistic, especially with the crowd noise. Like, they were really pumping it in there. Like, you get one ball, like, it's 1-0 on somebody to Bellinger or whatever. It was like they're cranking it up a little bit. They're getting the juices going. So it was crazy. I can only imagine that place is packed out.
You know what? When I was in Korea this year, they did the same thing. But Koreans, they're a little funny on some stuff. And they put stuffed animals one time. The whole front row behind the catcher was stuffed animals, mascots and stuff. So yeah, it was the same thing in Korea. Funny. It was fun. It was different. But you go over to Korea too, and you think that, like, you see all these videos of how actually loud and crazy they are. They're more than the American fans. They are.
Oh, for sure.
And not to be able to experience that was my biggest, like, upsetting moment of actually going over there. Because I'm like, man, I'm actually going to play in an atmosphere where it's like the Dominican where I played winter ball. Yeah, and everyone's running around and yelling and screaming. They're cursing at you in Spanish. They're telling you this and that. And I started picking up on some words. I'm like, oh, shit, this guy's killing me. But Korea was the same way. And then all of a sudden, it's like no fans. And you're like, fuck, man, that's a bummer, dude. Because Korea is known for having these loud banger things and yelling. And you get your own – there's no walk-up music. It's your own song that they sing for you. So – yeah, it was crazy, man. And I know what it's like to not have the fans there. It sucks. But like you said, we've been there for the state league, independent ball, kind of figure it out as you go. Now the Justin Turners or the Yeliches or the Brawns who've had to deal with it, I'm sure it affected a little bit more than
Right.
Guys like us. They thrive in that situation, but
Definitely.
it's just fun to see how different people react to it.
No, 100%, 100%. Yeah, actually, not sure who you played for in Korea. My buddy was over there, Nick Kingham. He was only over there.
Yep.
He got hurt about 2 starts in. He's going back this year. He's going to
He's with a different team this year, which is crazy.
The Eagles.
He's with Hanwha. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Him.
It's crazy. Yeah, because I was there.
Ryan
He was with
Healy.
SK. He got hurt.
Yep.
I played with Healy in Seattle.
You played with Healy. Yeah. So he just signed because he was at the alternate site and then up in Milwaukee last year too. So
I mean, it's a good opportunity over there. I've seen a lot more pitchers get signed out of Korea than I have position players. In all honesty, I've seen Thames was the only big name guy, but you've seen pitchers come out of there left and right. Lindblom, Kelly, Flexen, like all these guys are coming back and getting opportunities, which is great because what they're saying is, the pitching over there is not as good as it is in America. It's just different, man. They're vertical. They're vertical there. They're not side to side.
Yeah.
So a lot of their stuff splits up fastballs, big 12-6 curveballs, shit like that, and it's totally different. You go over there. But yeah, I'm hoping Healy goes over there and shows that he can do some damage over there. Kingham will be fine over there. He pitched well during the preseason and a couple games I was there. So, but it was really weird to see him go from SK and then Hanwha signed him. Like, why wouldn't SK just re-sign him? I don't understand that.
Yeah. It was. It's cool to see him still over there because I know that he had gotten hurt. I think it was his second start, and I was talking to him a little bit. I forget. I think he had like a bone spur get removed, but yeah, it's crazy over there. You assume I feel like when I see guys that I know or played against that go over there, they kind of stay with the same team if they're going for multiple seasons. Seems like they're always kind of with the same team. There's not as much movement, but he's with the Eagles now, so.
I know he made his money, though. Good for him. More power to him. I'm excited for him. He made his money. He pitched 2. He got his full contract. And he just got another one this year. Hats off to you, Nick. I applaud you, bud.
Can't hate that. That's for sure.
Well, I appreciate having you on the first podcast for us. And great story. Great first story on actually what it means to be on the road to the show, what it actually means. You've gone through the hard-nosed shit and you've pulled out to a point where you're in a good spot now. And I wish you nothing but the best, man. Like I said, I hope you go out there and you have a great year and you're able to do everything that you want to accomplish in baseball. And I wish you and your wife the best and good luck with everything.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It was definitely a good time. I'm sure that my story's a little longer than some other guys, but no, it was awesome. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the well wishes and best of luck to you too. Hopefully our paths cross soon and we'll have some fun down the road.
I'll be looking forward to it, man. Thanks again. Guys, thanks for joining in on Road to the Show. We'll see you next time with our next guest.